Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Bethke, Private First Class, United States Marine Corps. Hoorah! The podcast lamp is lighted on the 04 level aft.
Hey everybody, today's episode of the 04 level aft, we did a thing, and we brought in a guy, Brian Dahlheimer from the Lake Champlain, and he was the kind of guy that would have been on the smoke deck the entire time, and we talked, and of course it just slid right into the way it would have been our last conversation on smoke deck.
It was a lot of banter this episode.
I loved
it. Going back and forth.
But Brian catches us up on what he's been up to in the last 22 years, and then he tells us about his time in the Navy and all what he's done since. So
his time in the Navy's it did well for him. I mean, he went to a lot of places: San Diego, Rhode Island, Texas,
Iraq.
Italy, Iraq. You know, he's been around the world.
Yep. And so his microphone was a little jacked up, so it'll sound different, but we're learning. So I want to take a minute to say that this was recorded, it'll be edited, and it'll be put out. However, we do a lot of live stuff. We're going to possibly be transitioning more to lives than we do on this recorded side. But there's going to be times we're having them recorded like this will be better and whatever. So follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. So that way you can catch us live when we come out. We try our best to do those at least every 2-3 weeks, but we're busy.
We are going to try to get on the TikTokers. Try to do something there. I think I'm going to try to do something. I'm going to need Jonathan's help, obviously, but
we'll figure this out. We'll get we'll get all this worked out, and we appreciate you guys being patient with us. I would love to be able to sit down here and do this once a week. That's just not feasible. It's just not. We try, but it's just we have a lot of other stuff to do in our world. So please be patient.
But it was a great episode, and we hope and pray that you love the episode as much as we did, because like Jonathan said, that was really fun, man. It was like we were back on the 04 level aft, and we were just talking. We had
to kick him off though, because he was like talking the whole time. Like we could have gone 3 hours easy.
How dare him talk on the podcast?
We could have easily gone 3 hours, but we were able to rattle it down. I was trying to figure out how to shut it down. And Jay's like, "Hey, we got to go." Like Perk next to.
I mean, that's in New York. I mean, listen, we gotta go. Hey, period. Get out of here. But he's. If I have to say anything about Brian, is that he's down to earth. You know, he's military brat, so he's been in it all his life, and he's just a great guy. He really is. He's a great guy.
I think very fondly of him. He's one of those great friends from the Navy. So anyway, without any further ado, everybody enjoy the episode with Brian Dahlheimer.
BD's in the house. Dude, that jersey is needed.
Yeah,
right? Dude, I got this
awesome.
24 years ago.
Holy
really?
Nikes.
Yeah, they were selling it in the Champ, man. In the ship's
Well, that was after we left. That was after I left.
Must have been, yeah, because that's too cool.
No. This was way before you guys left.
Really?
I might have been in a phase in my little life there where I was, like avoiding the Navy at all costs, and so it might have been like I didn't get it when it was available and regret it now. I was at least smart enough to buy. 4 or 5 command ball caps before I left. And I only have one left. So, Brian Dahlheimer, dude, it's so cool to actually see you, man. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome to see you, dude.
Like, I know. Like, the last time I think you guys saw me, I was like 155 pounds soaking wet with all my clothes on and all 3 of our sea bags.
Right. Well, I weighed in at a whopping 235 last time I got in, and I'm not getting back on it for a while just in case.
I'm like 240.
Yeah.
You're light.
How long
I weigh about 250.
You were just tall though.
Yeah, you were tall.
I'm not that tall. I'm not that tall.
You're 6'2"?
I'm 6'2", yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 5'10".
I'm 5'10".
Like, stop.
Stop.
Hey, Brian, we got to do the check though. Here we go. I got to see the check. Ready? Okay, still looks the same.
Like, what?
I'm just seeing how much hair you got. Like, I'm just like,
no, man. I keep this thing pretty short because, like,
yeah, no. I'm just wondering, like, this part
actually looks very
like,
damper.
Yeah.
Oh, why? Thank you, David. Oh my God.
That's exactly. You actually have more hair than he did last time you did one of these.
Yeah, I was bald, I think, last time. I let it grow out a little bit.
Now look at the shadow box. He sent me a picture the other day of the shadow box, or not?
It's awesome.
It looks like a crest or a crest. It's got like the octagon, like oval crest thing. That's
I like on the bottom how it has the American flag folded and Chief up on top, the Chief logo. What is all the ribbons on the left? What's on the right?
Medals.
My medals.
Ah.
1, 2,
There's a
3,
lot of them.
4, 5, 6.
Better be.
Like a man in uniform.
Yeah.
Oh.
20 ribbons. Like,
20.
who gives a shit?
Now you're starting to sound like Norm Norrid.
Yeah, that was crazy.
All that meant was that I had to pay more money to get the shit mounted.
Right. Every time you get a new ribbon, you have to start from scratch.
Get a new rack, man. That shit sucks. Hey, how's my volume now?
It's a little low, but it'll work. We'll make it work.
Yeah, because I can't get this thing to work.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
So you have two
This won't be
screens
the last
or one?
time you're on. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you have two screens or one?
I have you, Jonathan over here, Jay over here, and me in the middle.
There you go. That's what I like to do. I really want to put the camera, like I want to be able to move it down to where I'm looking at, like it's right at your head, but
easy.
So that, because I hate the idea of looking like this the whole time, like it just, I always hate that.
So. You know what? I need to join you guys for whatever reason. I need to look important.
Can you hear us through the headphones?
Actually, hold on.
John's got the cool earbuds in. We got these big old things. Holy shnikes. No way,
dude. You've got to figure out how to make that work. You've got to.
Brian, please tell
Brian, please send
people
me
that are looking at us and watching us right now, please tell them what they are.
All right, so
oh my gosh.
Yes. So these are the headphones that we used to use on the ship, guys. But this is my special one that I traveled through 4 different ships wearing. So I took 2 headsets, spliced the wire, and made it like 20 feet long so I can go entirely across the entire combat and walk with wearing the headset still plugged in. I can go anywhere and wearing these things.
So you stole them. My man.
I made them.
You and Steve Parker are stealing stuff. I'm telling you.
There was all those times that we used to stay up in Radar 2 playing Tiger Woods on the Xbox and splicing wires in the headphones.
Jonathan was just talking about that.
You're blaming Bruce.
Radar 4.
McAvoy.
That's what it was. Radar 4. Yeah.
Well, that would have been, if you're splicing them together, that'd have been Bruce and them and Radar 2. That's where they were. Well, Brian, you're looking good. You're getting old.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
Yeah, you ain't kidding. You ain't kidding.
So I want to tell you this story. I think you guys will appreciate this.
All right,
the other day, a teenager or 20-year-old at work, I'm talking him through changing some stuff out on the transformer, and it was a hot transformer. So you have to really watch and make sure they're doing everything right. And I'm like, man, real quick, blah, blah, blah. Do you understand? He's like, yes, sir, I understand. And I'm like, I'm your equal. I'm not like, what are you calling me sir for? Like, and now I understand why all these women would get so mad at me in California for saying yes, ma'am. Like I get it now. Like, but it's okay. It's culture, so it's just still hard to all of a sudden it's like I was one of them and now I'm the sir.
Oh man, it's like a knife to my heart when someone says that. It's like, oh, really? I'm that old?
I don't mind sir so much. I hate being called Mr. Becker.
Mr. Becker.
Well, yeah, Mr. Becker. Like my kids' friends. Hi, Mr. Becker. How are you? I was like, I want to punch you in the face right now. Punch you square in the nose.
So a culture thing in Louisiana is they would say like Mr. Brian or Mr. J or Mr. Jonathan. Like
that's cool.
It's not the last name so much, but it's still weird, in church, because like when I grew up, it was brother Johnson, brother Jake, so like it's kind of weird to hear it at church, but in town you hear it all the time, Mr. Johnson, or it's kind of cool. So,
I mean, I get emails every day, and it's like Mr. Dahlheimer. I'm like, is my dad in this chain of emails?
Where's my grandfather? He's not around.
Like, what? All right, so what's up, guys?
So let's I met you on June the 9th of 1999, and I know that's because that's the day you and I got to the Lake Champlain. It was also the day the Lake Champlain came back from Alaska.
Well, actually, I disagree with you. You and I met
give me a
before
different
that because you and I were both at TPU in San Diego.
I don't remember being at TPU because I checked in I flew in on the 7th.
Did you really?
I flew in on the 7th, like 2 days before. I was
one day you were at TPU.
I don't remember being at TPU.
Well, you had to be at TPU.
I guess.
What does TPU stand for?
Temporary Processing Unit. So it's the
there's
holding.
A chance. There's a chance. I don't recall that. I remember being on the pier.
Come on, man. Unless you were staying out unless you were staying out in downtown San Diego on your own dime, you were definitely at TPU.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember where it was.
It was over by the DFAC across the street from the driving range.
I remember when you guys came on board. I was actually on board when they went to Alaska.
Yeah.
To Juneau.
I missed that.
Do you know that?
And what stinks is like I got 40 states I've been to, and Alaska's one of them I haven't. So like I gotta hit that.
You didn't go to Alaska with us?
With us.
Alaska was awesome.
Alaska in 99, and we got to the ship when they got back. So if you went
I went
another
to Homer, Alaska, Bubba.
When?
No 4.
Yeah, I got out in 03. So
yeah, we went to Juneau before you guys got on board. And let me tell you something, it was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. We actually hit a whale on the way up there.
We had a lot of them.
I remember the issue because y'all were really concerned about the sonar dome and stuff at the time. So
man, we hit a lot of whales on the Lake Champlain.
For some reason up there, they just didn't take care of their teeth. There's a lot of black teeth up there. Probably all the fish they ate.
I can't remember who the female
my
officer
teeth are
was.
still bad right now.
What's that, Brian?
I can't remember who the female officer was who was always the OOD, but every time she was OOD, we would hit whales. And like it was so bad that we were actually going to start painting whales on the side of the hull.
Didn't we have a female officer on board? Her last name was Gomez.
Maybe
Might have been.
There was one whose last name was Steele, and her name was like Misty Steele, and we always talked about how that was the greatest porn name of all time, like Misty Steele. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, my name
wasn't me, Mom. If you're listening, it was that guy over there.
Anyway, so. What's that? What you drinking?
Bellies to the bar, boys. Whippersnapper.
Oh yeah, you gotta go in there and on your settings and
so Whistle Pig.
You gotta go in there in your settings and fix it to where your mirror view so that we can read what all the stuff's going on behind.
All right. Well, it's a 12-year-old Whistle Pig.
That's pretty cool. Whistle Pig's a groundhog. Where I'm from, the old people call whistle pigs or groundhogs whistle pigs.
Whistle.
All the old people do.
All right. So what are we doing, gentlemen?
Well, we're talking, catching up. How are you
doing?
Like
we used to do on the 04 level aft, man. First, we want to ask how you been, where you been, what you been doing since 03.
Ooh,
no. Whoa, what happened?
That was me.
I got scared. I was like, I'm by myself. What do I do? What do I do with my hands? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you don't remember this, Jay, but I made a drawing for you.
A drawing?
Uh-huh.
Really? No, I don't. Remind me, please, brother.
You were dating some chick. I don't remember who the hell it was. But you were dating some chick. You came in the CIC, and I was drawing. And you're like, hey, can you do a drawing for me? And I was like, sure. And you gave me this girl's photo, black hair.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I drew it for you.
I remember.
I still have it.
Wow.
You still have that picture?
I still have that.
Oh, man.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Sorry, I just dropped
No
it.
way.
I apologize. YouTube, you're going to have to block that.
I didn't even hear it, so I'll beep it out.
You're fine, man.
Where,
well, I remember that.
Well,
I do remember
bring
that.
it? Let's see it.
I didn't.
Come on, you can't drop stuff like that and not bring it out here.
It just came to me.
It happens to me all the time. Like I didn't remember until you mentioned it, and I'm like, yeah, I remember totally.
Yeah. Like, I can go get it, but I mean, they're going to be a blank screen for a minute because I got to, go on the other side of my office.
That's pretty cool, though. Like, it's interesting.
That is awesome.
The memories that we were just talking about that a minute ago, the other day, actually. Sorry, the memories that you forget, and then you hear people talking, and you're like, "Oh man, I forgot all about that." Like, and then there's like a flood. I remember every detail of that conversation, or us being up there talking, or whatever, and it's pretty funny. But
I mean, obviously, that's why I love this podcast. Like,
it's only the third episode.
Well, I don't think you understand. Like I'm addicted to this thing. Like I look every week. Like, is there a new episode? Is there a new episode? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I mean, I like this better than Joe Rogan.
Well, so you have over this weekend you have seen our issues scheduling. We say let's do it on this day, and then something happens, something comes up, and it throws it off. And I almost had to cancel tonight.
That's life, man.
Yeah, and this is what makes it hard to do 3 people. You're in Virginia, Jay's in New York. I'm all the way down here in Louisiana, so it's even crazier. So.
Yeah, but guys, I'm a jockstrap. I am here to support, man.
I thought you were going to say something smart, like you started to itch or something.
I am here, man. I am here for you guys. Like,
I had no idea where that was going. I'm gonna be honest
with you. It's funny because John and I were talking about doing lives a little bit more, and I think that's a good idea. We're still going to do the podcast, yes, but I think we might focus on the lives a little bit more. We like to banter back and forth, like you guys like on the chat and whatnot. So I think that's going to be a good idea.
Well, you're gonna have to warn me. I'm not gonna have to have 4 bottles of wine prior to that.
Man, 4 bottles of wine. So what are you drinking? Like, I mean, you must be making a lot of money because last time I bought a bottle of wine, which was 20 years ago, it was not cheap. So unless you're drinking Boone's Farm, what crap you? How expensive is Boone's Farm now? I wonder.
Boone's Farm.
Yeah,
I don't think they can give that.
Is it still
away.
Super cheap?
I don't even think they can give that shit away, man. No, so I think you and I, and I mentioned in the group chat that you and us 3 are in. I've been very fortunate since I retired, and my wife and I are members to 2 different wine clubs.
Okay.
And great wine, wine. Like I'm not gonna, I mean, we've been very fortunate.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've never messed. I think I can honestly say the last time I had wine was on my wedding day, and I really didn't like it, and I just never went back after.
Really?
So that was never my thing. I just never could.
I never liked wine unless it was sangria. You guys know the Carlo Rossi brand?
Oh my God.
It comes in like this 5-gallon glass jug.
Okay.
Carlo Rossi sangria is what I used to live on. And it was 35 cents a metric ton. So it was a cheap drunk. Let me tell you. I used to get loaded on that and build fires in my back then it was my girlfriend, but my wife now, her backyard. I used to just build fires everywhere in her backyard. There's like 5 or 6 different
35 cents a metric ton.
That's man.
But it's
Can't even water that
cheap stuff.
So how long have you been retired, Brian?
So I retired 2019.
Oh wow. So you've been up a little bit. So you did what? Total of
22 years.
The total combined everything 22?
Yeah.
So after the Lake Champlain was your first ship, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
Where did you go after?
So after Champlain, I went to teach. You're gonna laugh at this. I was a department head instructor.
How many kids did you punch?
Department head instructor. I mean, no, you're talking like 3s, 4s, right? Like you're not brand new.
No. So
Yeah,
I
3, 4,
taught.
5.
So when I got there, my job was to teach O3s. Air defense, DCA, DLI considerations. Air defense stuff. From the AIC point of view.
Yeah.
And
I can see you doing that. Absolutely.
Air intercept controller. Trying to remember.
Oh yeah. Sorry, air intercept controller. Yeah, my apologies.
It's really hard not to do that, but
it is. Yeah. God, it is. It really is.
Well, you got to do it not only for the people who are listening, but for me also. I just hit my. But
yes, and of course there might be some Army folks or whatnot listening. So.
Oh, Army. Okay, so I mean, it's just like your field artillery guys. Your forward air controllers.
Right.
So anyway, I went up there, started teaching that, and then I still taught that, but then I went and taught PXO class, prospective XOs. So teaching prospective XOs how to be, more cognizant about air defense.
Right. What was your rank then?
Say again?
When you're teaching. What was your rank when you were teaching?
So I got there as an E5, and I picked up E6 shortly after I got there. Yeah.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Did they give you any lashback for being taught by a second class, first class?
No.
Okay.
Position of authority.
I controlled their grade.
It's position of authority.
That's I was the one that was grading all their assignments. I was the one that was down in the classrooms, when we were doing the ship simulators, playing Alpha Whiskey and, air defense commanders and alternate air defense commanders going, no, you did that wrong. Like,
like what?
No, you only got one showing. Only one showing.
So where was this school at? Where was this?
This was in Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay.
Oh, so you went from coast to coast, Sandog to Rhode Island.
So I was there. So I got there in 04, September of 04. And December of 04, I picked up 6. And then October of 06, I left. And I went to Iraq. And I went to training down in Fort Bliss and then Camp McGregor. And then
what's Fort Bliss at? I've heard that name before.
Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. El Paso.
Ooh, way out there in the
right on the border of Juarez.
Yeah.
Good salsa.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. I worked in Alamogordo, New Mexico for about 6 months building power lines on the base.
Yeah.
And so we'd go down there and it was kind of cool. I had a clearance in the Navy and it helped me get on the Air Force Base like 15 years later. A lot of linemen have methamphetamine issues and I had a clearance I can get on base. And so they're like,
what are you talking about? So does the Air Force.
Methamphetamines?
Oh, bro, we had so we were supposed to take off from Frankfurt, Germany to go to into Baghdad. And our flight got delayed because the entire air crew popped. The entire crew that was supposed to fly us into Baghdad.
How many personnel is that?
Like 8.
You guys, okay, so I was thinking about this.
What is this, Dom?
Do you guys remember there was a guy on the ship, and I know he was an FC. I can't remember if he was 86 or CWIS. I know he wasn't a CF guy, but we referred to him as Tweaker. He's a little bit skinny kid. He didn't last long. He did not last long at all, and he always carried that little balloon with him, and he was sitting there squeezing that balloon, and somebody realized what was in that stinking balloon was underway. They grabbed it from the 04 level aft, and they chucked it. Whoa, and we watched it splash in the water.
It's probably Steve. Steve probably threw it.
Oh, well, I don't know.
It was 100% Steve. Steve threw everything. You know what's funny? I took over throwing pens for the rest of my career.
Nice. Nice pen.
But so there was a guy on the ship, and he wound up popping, and they got rid of him. He didn't last long. He didn't make any of the cruise books. I don't even think he did any deployment time. Might did a couple underways with us, but the dude was just tweaked out. It's the first time I was ever that close to drugs, other than when me and Jay went to a Fish concert. But anyway, that's a different story. And like, it was just, it's just crazy. And then now, man, you see me and Christina's talking the other day. Used to, people walk down the street because they needed to go somewhere. Now you see somebody walking down the street and you almost immediately assume that they're methed out. Like, at least down here. And you see,
I was like, Jesus Christ, where the hell are you living? Like,
oh, yeah.
I see a person walking down the street. I'm like, oh, that's my neighbor.
No.
Little old lady walking a dog.
No, I'm talking like down the street's one thing, but if they're along the side of the highway and it's a highway, you're like, you used to, you thought, oh, they're broke down. But now you're like, oh, look, watch them. Or,
I know what you're saying, because I'm seeing it in Syracuse a lot too, man. I'm seeing a lot of drug use. A lot of people on the side of the road just. And
what happened what happens in the military. I didn't even really find out until after I got out about the gang problems on aircraft carriers.
There's gangs on aircraft carriers.
Oh my God. Are you
it's bad. And prostitution rings, all kinds of stuff.
Time out. Hold on. Here, let me set the record straight on.
There's really prostitution rings. You can't talk me out of that one. I know better.
So when I checked on board the USS Baton, LHD-5, I checked on board there. I had been a chief. Let me see. I made chief like 3 weeks after I checked on board. So I picked up chief. And so this was right after SWAS in Newport, Rhode Island. So I picked up chief in 09, right? So
pretty quick. 10 years for OS is pretty fast, huh?
Yeah, I know. And then I spent the next 10.5 years as chief.
Star.
Just give it to him now and just
no, he doesn't need it now. You know what? I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. The Navy didn't give me a star or 2 stars or 3 stars because I'd still be in. But so I checked on board the Baton and I'm like, who the hell is in charge? And it's like some E5. There was no E6 in charge. There was an E5 who just picked up E5.
You mean like on the duty day or something?
No, the whole division, the LPO was an E5. That was the senior most person in charge of OI division on an amphib was an E5 because everybody else got fired or DFC'd because of the prostitution ring that was on board the Baton.
How many people?
Huge.
Okay, first of all, Baton, whatever you're saying, what size, what kind of ship is that?
LHD.
What's the population? What's the
1,500 sailors, 1,500 Marines.
Ooh. And there's a prostitution ring going on. It's probably had some higher ranking people.
Oh, yeah. So it turned out there was a recruiter who was working with a detailer who was recruiting and detailing people to specific ships because they were going to it.
And I'd like to know how this racket is ring, man. How is it run?
I don't know.
I would imagine.
Who's in charge? Who's the pimp?
Dude,
there has to be.
I had 90% of my division was hooked up in this thing.
That's crazy.
There has to be one main man.
So what I heard on
the pimp or the pimpette.
So what I heard, for me to hear about it was aircraft carrier. It was out of Norfolk, and there was 2 gangs that were both running their own prostitution ring, and these gangs were tied to street gangs in the civilian world. It's like they're just like the gangs outside the prison run the prison outside, whatever. It's doing it, but what happened was there was a particular person that they both wanted, and they fought for it, and it turned into this big old bloodbath, and everybody's fighting on the ship because of it. Come down to this one, female that they wanted in the ring, and she didn't have anything to do with it, but that's how they found out about it. NCIS got involved, and it's pretty crazy.
So
dude,
you know how they
that's
found
why
out
small boy ships are better.
So do you know how they found out about the prostitution ring on a Baton? They come back from deployment. There was OSSN E3.
Yeah.
Right. whose father was a command master chief. She comes home and buys a brand new Mustang, cash. And her dad was like,
"Did you re-enlist
no,
as an FC?"
How can you afford this car cash? Like, and she's like, well, he's like, no, I really don't. And boom.
Oh man.
Like a nuke. And if for one second you don't think it exists, it's happened on almost every ship I've been on other than the Lake Champlain.
Gosh,
okay, it's happened.
So I'm sure we had our stuff too. So
yeah, we had steroid use coming from the secret squirrels in Cess.
It wasn't very secret though.
No, it wasn't.
And the guys that were taking it wasn't that big of a secret either.
They were huge.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the one time that you and I went to the gym down there, Jay. You remember that?
Yes, sir. That was wow.
Yeah, the one and only time I went down there, I thought I was going to die.
So I was always like, of all my muscle groups, my legs have always been the strongest. And they're not very strong.
Your head?
Yeah, it's the biggest. Anyway, and I went down there and was in the gym, was doing squats or whatever, and I was doing more than some of those roid guys who just skip leg day every time. And they got really upset that I was doing more, and then I had to start hearing about it and chirping. And I'm like, I ain't going back down there. Forget that. I ain't dealing with that. Like, it ain't. Dude, and then I was sore for 3 or 4 days anyway.
I was down there every day.
Dude, that gym was tiny.
Yeah, it was.
I was one of those guys that went down there every day and spent a couple hours down there.
I don't even know how. A couple hours doing what? We had like
working out. We
there.
Hang out, talk to the guys. Because I was pretty tight with Zach, Zurcher, and
oh yeah,
that's a big
dude. Was he part of that? I don't know. Anyway,
part of the prostitution ring.
No, he was part of the Bahrain. The Bahrain, like, I'm gonna jump off this table and put my feet into your chest.
Remember that huge fight we got into?
Oh, yeah, of course I remember.
Yeah, well, some guy, Zach Zurcher, threw like a beer can, right? And the guy came up behind me and looked at him and said, "Don't throw that again." And he pushed him in the face. Zach Zurcher turned back and went to go punch this dude. The guy backed up and he punched me square in the face. I was like,
well, you probably deserved it.
I was like, whoa. I looked at Brian Jenkins. I was like, hey, I didn't spill my beer though. And all of a sudden I just see people just jumping over the table, a huge brawl. I'm just like, okay, let's go.
That was the first and only time ever in a fight that I ever missed with my hand and caught that guy right in the side of the face with my elbow. And I realized, like, oh, that's even more fun than hitting him with my fist. And I was just like, wow, elbowing that guy, like 2 or 3 guys. And I was surprised I didn't get my nose broke and everything. Was that the Elliott? Was that the USS Elliott we were fighting?
No,
I think
it was
Marines.
It was Marines. It wasn't the Elliott.
There was Marines.
Oh,
and I remember I punched one of the guys and I turned around and I saw Val, good old Val. He had a guy in a headlock. He had a guy in a headlock and he was going, you know how he laughed like that? Louis Matos was just throwing people everywhere. I don't know if you remember Louis Matos or not.
No, I remember.
He's guy from Miami.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
I forgot about that guy.
You know, it's funny because that first deployment was amazing.
It was amazing. It was fun.
Like, I remember pulling into Hong Kong, or no, I'm sorry, Korea. We pulled into Busan, Korea, or Chinhae, Korea.
Chinhae, yeah.
Right. And
I remember Chinhae. It was like this whole time.
Colder than cold, bro.
And we're sitting in the bar, and they're playing porn on that like 40 foot by 40 foot wall, right? And we're sitting by the door, and it's cold as crap because they keep leaving the door open, and we're dying. But this girl walks over. She's like, "Hey, $5, you and me all time." And I can't remember. He was a CT, and he's like, "No," and he's blowing her off. And finally, he's like, all right, I'll pay you $20 if you let me punch you in the face. Right. And so he was going to draw back, but he actually hit her. And it was as the music was pausing and shifting, and it was like clack. And Shore Patrol walking through the door at the same time. That dude bolted. Like,
who was that?
I don't know.
I remember that story. I remember that story. Who was
I was sitting at the table.
Hold on.
I saw the whole thing.
Let me look real quick, and I'll try to find it.
Oh, wait, hold on.
You got one? Don't
find
say
the
his
drawing.
name. You probably shouldn't say his name though.
No, we shouldn't. No, you're right.
But you can
I'm
point
gonna
him
look
out.
it up. I will text it to you.
He's probably in two things. He's probably either one in jail, or two, he's doing really well for himself.
Bro, he leveled her like I ain't never seen someone hit someone. Like it was like insta swalls. Like
I remember this one particular CT on the second deployment that decided that he was going to give his virginity to a Thai prostitute. Y'all remember that?
Oh, good Lord. I remember when
and I run into him after a couple of days, and like he looked exhausted. I'm like, man, what's like? Is you having fun? He said, yeah. He goes, I'm broke though.
he got no money for it.
So funny, man.
All right, so
what was CT's? Okay, here it is.
So Jay,
Yes.
while Jonathan's looking it up, so after Newport, I went to the Baton. I was supposed to go to back to San Diego as the LPO on the Princeton as an AIC suit. I was supposed to go to Princeton because I was a Top Gun grad. So when you guys left, that's when I went. I ended up going to Top Gun as an air controller.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You don't think about that. Like Top Gun needs air controllers too, and you got to do that. It's kind of
yeah, 100%. Yeah. Fallon. Gotta love Fallon.
It's called sarcasm.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't Miramar.
Yeah.
You know, like you can.
Well, I could take Miramar. It was like right down the road from San Diego.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Nevada?
Ninth hole. Remember that ninth hole at Miramar course? It was 660 yards.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That was. I never did better than a double bogey on that hole, no matter how hard I hit that golf ball. Anyway,
I got one question though.
Yeah, what's up?
After you were in Texas, you said you went to Iraq. Was that when you were on the LHD?
No, I was boots on ground.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
is that something you want to talk about or no?
I don't care. Yeah, it is what it is. So I deployed with I started off with a counter rocket artillery mortar, CRAM. Basically, it was CWIS on a tractor trailer on a flatbed.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. They did that.
You know, so we went. So the original plan was that we were going to go to Ramadi, Iraq, and set up a forward operating base, a FOB. And we were going to set up the CWIS on the truck to shoot down mortars and stuff. Well, the infighting was too strong there. So they said, hey, we're going to bypass that and we're going to send you down to Camp Victory. And so we ended up staying at Camp Liberty in Tet City. And I ended up doing that and then transferring over to doing counter ID operations.
Oh,
which sounds interesting. It's basically, hey, so we suspect there's an IED on this road. We're going to need you to get in this vehicle
and test it out. Drive that way.
Yeah. Good luck.
with this electronic jamming system and this Rhino gear, which is basically it's like a giant arm. It's got a big box on it. And you just drop it down, right? And that's supposed to, set
when
up.
You said Rhino gear, dude, I just thought of Ace Ventura when he's stuck in the Rhino.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
The fan break.
Was it hot? It was the same thing.
Pretty hot in these rhinos.
Look, he's having a baby.
Yeah, and so that's what I did. I went looking for explosives for, a couple of months.
Wow.
So we were chatting back and forth the other day about what to talk about.
Yeah.
And
what changed in the Navy?
So I want to first of all, I want to preface this with the comment. Not everybody's experience in the Navy was the same. Everybody's is different. Facts. I have a lot of really good friends that we all know who think of their time in the Navy as the worst 4 years of their life. 100%. And it just it's mind boggling to me, but I also have friends who hated high school the same way. And I'm like, man, I had a good time in high school. Whatever, like it is what it is. But also I want to say that, is there a chance that those people getting out of the Navy when we were getting in there looked at our time in the Navy the same way that we look at these guys? You know what I mean? Like, we look at what's happened since 2003 and the pieces that I get from the military as like, what the crap happened to the military, But is there a chance that the guys who getting out in 97 looked at from 97 to,
100%.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
100%.
I want to say that right now, anything that's said from here on is
100%. The Navy's generational.
Yeah, generational. Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to say that because I don't want somebody listening to go, well, God, you guys were worse than any of them. Because I'm telling you, if Chief Self's listening to this or Chief Ragsdale, they're probably gonna be like, you guys were morons. I can't even believe this.
They have no idea what being a sailor is all about.
Right? Like wooden ships, ships are made of wood and men were made of iron.
Also, I don't want to argue at all. We were morons. We were absolute idiots.
100%. Jonathan, I told you I was a shithead when I was a junior sailor. I was
there. No, I'm just kidding.
100%. I was terrible. And I used to tell my junior sailors that. Because
what was the swap? What did it for you? Picking up, because I remember. So I always think about you.
That first command.
I remember two U's really. I remember the junior U, and then the one that when you took over working with AIC, it was like the switch flipped in you, and all of a sudden, like you went to school for AIC and you come back, and all of a sudden you're sitting behind MSS and you're writing on the scope and you're telling people, hey, you have this much fuel left and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Brian's enjoying, he's in the little work bubble there. And it seemed like that's when a switch flipped in, from my perspective.
Really grew
22 years ago. And that you switched from being the knothead to what, a little better. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Is that for me, that's what I see. So,
checking out board Lake Champlain, going into OI division, it was hard because, we had the largest division in ops department, period. Dot.
Even the bosun mates?
Oh, 100%. We still have the largest division in ops department, period. Dot. And that continues on to every command.
Right. There's a lot. OSs have a lot of different jobs. There's a lot of different.
When I was on the Carl Vincent and I was the department and all CPO, I had 135 OSs.
Wow.
There was over 100 FCs on Lake Champlain. You know that?
Yeah.
Oh, almost a quarter. Almost a quarter. Almost a quarter of the ship.
Yeah, and I literally met 4 of them. Where the hell were the others?
Oh yeah, on the carrier. Yeah, there's only that's the crazy thing.
It's a guided missile cruiser. You're going to have a crap load of FCs anyway.
I know.
It's just it is what it is.
So, the thing is, so one of the things I want to talk, I want to get through all of the stuff I did before, and then we can talk about all of the other stuff, right?
Sure.
So, Lake Champlain, SWAS to Baton to, I went to an oiler, believe it or not. I was the OPSO as a chief on an oiler, giving ships fuel.
What was the name of that ship?
USNS Leroy Grumman.
Ooh, I like that name, Grumman.
Right?
I think our battle group, it was USS Bridge, I believe.
It was
the
Bridge.
Yeah,
It was.
that's amazing. I remember that.
And then
just Grumman.
From the Leroy Grumman, I went to the USS Carl Vinson out of San Diego. And from Carl Vinson, I went to 6th Fleet out in Naples, Italy. And from 6th Fleet, I went to CTF 64, which is Commander Task Force 64, which is ballistic missile defense for Europe and places that I can't talk about. And
ages. Anyway.
Doing ballistic missile defense, right? And from there, I went to the USS Kearsarge, where I retired. And I retired because...
Yeah, here's this one.
Yeah.
That's what made me think of this topic.
So I chose to retire because
you got caught, huh? Pimping.
Again?
You got caught pimping.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got caught pimping, baby. Yeah.
Brian, I told you.
Right? No.
He probably wasn't pimping. He was probably on the other side.
What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
So I got an LOI. If you don't know what an LOI, it's a letter of instruction. It's given to senior enlisted and officers. It's like a counseling check you get to an E5, right?
Yeah.
It's non-punitive. It doesn't go on your personal record, but everybody knows in your chain of command that you got one, right? So your eval, everything else is going to be affected by that counseling tip or LOI. So checked on board Kearsarge. We were in Puerto Rico because they had the hurricane, doing humanitarian operations over there, doing that thing. And I
Hurricane
noticed,
Maria?
Huh?
Hurricane Maria?
No.
You got a 19, right?
Yeah.
So that means Hurricane Maria hit 17.
In 17, yeah. So
yeah, I was in Puerto Rico. I got there in November of 17 and left in July of 18. I stayed down there for a while.
Yeah, we're down there at the same time.
Build power lines. We'd have known it. How about that?
Yeah, we were down there at the same time. Like, seriously. We were down there.
We didn't know that.
You guys could have had lunch
yeah.
together.
Well, there was no place to have lunch down there.
Oh, well. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, you might have been able to find a place to have lunch, but
yeah.
You know, so I get the LOI because when I get there, I'm like, so I do the chief thing because I've been a chief for like 10 years at this point, you know, like 9 years or some change or whatever. I don't know. But so I did a chief thing. Look at all the personnel records, the training records, this, right? And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Like, you guys are using the wrong PQS. Like, you guys are using like an LCS PQS. Like, this isn't even the right PQS. Like, nobody in CIC is qualified to even be in CIC right now. And so bring it up to the, you know, chain of command, and, you know, ATG comes on board and we fail. And the command decides to give me an LOI for things that happened before I even showed up and things I told them about. So I walked down to the personnel office and dropped my retirement papers.
Yeah, screw you guys, huh?
Yeah. Like, you're not going to hang me out to dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the blame had to go on somebody, so unfortunately, they tried to put it on you, huh?
Which goes back to what Jonathan and I were talking about the other day. You know, it's the Navy has changed. Like, the Navy that you and me fell in love with is gone. Like, it's gone. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, and you know, everyone says like our generation, the Gen Xers, is like the best generation. I honestly think we had the best of both worlds when it came into the Navy. Because when I went to boot camp, we still had to stencil our stuff. We had to fold it in certain ways. We had the bell bottoms, the Dixie cups and all that stuff. And then we switched to the new dungarees, and you had to go get them embroidered and all that stuff. And I hated it. I wanted to stay in the bell bottoms. I wanted to stay old school, but it still wasn't as political, or I might say that it really is now. There's not a lot of.
Yeah, it got worse, bro.
There wasn't like PC, that kind of stuff.
It got worse. So,
that's unfortunate.
You and I went through bell bottoms to utilities, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got out. There's utilities.
So you remember the Johnny Cash
coveralls? Who?
The white tops and black bottoms?
No, Johnny Cash is all black, man. It's Johnny Cash.
Well, what was the one that had the white tops and black bottoms?
What they call it?
Salt peppers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm here for you.
I like the Johnny Cash.
I'm here for you.
Hey, I still have my long sleeve one. I just can't fit it.
Well, none of us can. Are you kidding me?
I'm gonna work on that.
But
mine shrunk. I don't know what happened, but the clothes shrunk.
I know, right? I mean,
if you
20 years in a bin, who knows? They would have shrunk.
Dude, I'm with you. But so
don't make them like they used to.
So if you think of what is the responsibility of senior enlisted?
To
take care of junior enlisted.
Yeah, so they can fight the ship. Yeah.
Well, not so they can fight the ship, just to take care of them, because
our
job is to train junior enlisted and junior officers, right? So when I have a sailor that comes to me, he's like, "Hey, Chief, I can't afford these new uniforms." I'm like, "Why not?" Because we went through so many uniform changes. Like, since you guys got out, like, it's insane. We went to blueberries, and then we went to these, and we went to type 3s, and it's like, holy crap. Like it's insane. So
at one point when we got out, they had the working whites, the working blues. Like you were talking about Johnny Cash, the working blues. Right. And then they went to a time where they had the blue pants with the khaki tops, even for the junior enlisted.
Correct.
Okay, and then they had, at the same time, they're doing the blue digital deal, or they're doing the blue digital.
Yeah, we call those blueberries.
Okay, which I love those jackets. I want one of them jackets. Even that, I just, from my perspective, I'm a dude. Listen, I'm in an army town.
What are you gonna hide in the water? Like,
I don't care about hiding. I just think
you could be camouflaging in the ocean. Like,
then it should be gray if you're going to do that. I don't understand. Anyway,
I hate those coveralls.
I loved coveralls.
Dude, we went through 3 types of different coveralls in my career.
I hated them. I just wanted the old dungaree bell bottoms, with the pockets that are in the front.
And
those coveralls.
Pockets.
I
love those.
Of course you do.
Thin blue coveralls.
Dude, I hated wearing those things. It's like wearing a moose knuckle.
Right. There we go.
Alrighty.
Dude, the shit splits you in half. It's like East and West Berlin.
Brian, you're supposed to wear them a little bit bigger than you were. You're not supposed to wear them skin tight. That was the whole point of it. They were supposed to be loose.
Hey, dude, I didn't issue them to me. That's all I'm saying.
Are you? Yeah, But that was one. I remember when they. I saw somebody on TV or on Facebook or whatever, and they were wearing that uniform, and I'm like, what the crap? Like, even recently, there's a guy that here in DeRidder that he posted a picture of himself, and I'm like, man, I didn't realize you were a chief. And he goes, oh yeah, you must have got out before they, the E5s wear khaki top. And I'm like, and I couldn't see the pant.
So the E5s wore khaki tops.
There was a type of uniform, working uniform.
So the utilities, so dungarees went to utilities, and utilities went to
the fatigues,
khaki top, and the utility pants is what they went to, and that was their working uniform, where they could wear, if they wanted to go to 7-Eleven, or if they wanted to go somewhere off base and whatever.
Seems like it's a Marine uniform.
Yes, but without the blood stripe, right? The E5s definitely weren't getting that in the Navy. Maybe a brown one, but
it's just a skid mark. I don't know what you're about.
Look, it should be done by rate. Like, HTs definitely have the brown ones.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Like,
nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't laugh at his joke. Sorry, that was a good joke. No.
It wasn't the Navy anymore. I mean, you were an FC, so and Jonathan, you were an FC, so you guys understand CAS reps, you know?
Yeah.
Like so when stuff was broken, we flew CAS rep, whether it was a Cat 1, a Cat 2, Cat 3, or Cat 4, right? If it was broken, it was broken, and we flew CAS rep. Nowadays, we don't fly CAS reps. We only fly Cat 1 or Cat 2s. There's no 3s or 4s ever, because the CEOs of the ships don't want people to understand that there's broken equipment on their boat.
So what he's talking about, for those of you listening, is he's talking about the tech reps. They come in and help us repair radars or equipment, machines, anything that's vital to the operation of the ship. You can't fight the ship because it's broke, and you're not sending for help because you're prideful and you don't want people to know you have problems. Because it does make the chain of command at some point. Somebody's going to get in trouble for that.
Yeah, someone's going to get punched in the face.
Well, I mean, tell you, okay, so there's a radar. The transmitter for the radar that I worked on was invented in the late 60s, right? And what do you expect? However, it works. It really does work. And there are 40 years worth of pubs and understanding of what can go wrong. And as soon as something goes wrong, I assume now they probably have like a thing where you can plug into it like your car and you can tell exactly what's wrong with it. But like, you know, like,
I'm surprised they don't have apps for them.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what they got? Yeah, but I mean, so
what's that Tomahawk? All right, let me break out the app.
When stuff's broke, you got to fix it. And if they're going to be like that, then I don't want to be on a ship that can't fight itself or can't defend another ship.
Everything on Lake Champlain was like 1960s technology. You know,
were you guys?
I mean, there was upgrades, yes, but all the things that we worked on was
except for spy, but yeah. For sure. Yeah.
I mean, were you guys there when we lifted the floor decks in CIC?
I saw it happen a couple times.
And so there was like we found a can of Coke from 1982.
Really?
You ready for this? After the 2000 deployment, 82, the ship was commissioned in 87. So anyway,
I know, but it was in the yards.
True, for a while.
That's what I'm saying.
In the 2000 deployment, I was after the 2000 deployment. Christina left in August, and then I went cranking, and I did cabin boy, and they sent me up there with him, and they decided they were going to do like a mass clean, and so they start dropping the tiles or the ceiling tiles, the drop ceiling tiles, and there was these giant like San Diego phone books from like the late 80s. That was sitting on top of them. And when we were, and every one of them had one on it. And they said that keeps them from going, it keeps it. So as soon as it was all over with, they cleaned it. We all put them back up there. So there was phone books, some monster thick ones that sit there, and it just allowed it to kept that drop the panel from bouncing. So
that wasn't in the third stall in the berthing in the crapper, was it?
No.
Only the best in the United States Navy, gentlemen.
Yeah, we didn't have about third stall.
We didn't have a third stall in our berthing. I don't know what you guys.
Yeah.
We had
all right. So after I retired, from
you GS now.
I'm not a GS. I want to. It's like joining the mafia. Once you're in, you're in. You know, it's like you're golden.
My buddy just picked up 14.
Good for him. Good for him.
He's excited.
Yeah, I'd be excited if I was GS-14.
Yeah, and he did like 23 years. He was a Cav officer or a Cav. He retired at E8 Master Sergeant with the in the cavalry, which is pretty cool.
Okay. So after I retired, I took the first job out of the gate. There was a job at Northrop Grumman doing some things that you and I will talk about offline. Because I signed like 12 NDAs, if that makes you think of anything.
His name's Brian Dahlheimer. Anyway,
J middle initial.
It was insane, like how far these people went down and delved into the things that I was like, I didn't realize I was doing this. This is not what I wanted to do. So I was a training officer for training people to operate satellites. And then we'll leave it at that.
Right.
And so,
Space Force.
right, like, what the fuck do I know about satellites? I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Thank God Google. But so then I stopped working, right? So I got my 100% disability after I retired because of COVID. So I stopped working for a while and started doing day trading. And, this was during COVID. The boys were, so my two oldest, I have three boys. My two oldest were living with me at the time. And I was helping them through their online schools while I was doing day trading and whatever else. And one day I get this email and they're like, "Hey, so we're looking for someone with your qualifications." It's like, all right, whatever. Like, so I responded, and now I got a job working at the Pentagon for. I do program analysis. I try to get warfighters money for ballistic missile defense and air defense, and that's my job.
That's cool.
So that's like grant writing, but inside the military.
Say again?
Like grant writing, like you write for grants, but you're writing for money that still stays in the DoD, kind of.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And I work with outside entities like Missile Defense Agency, NAVSEA, NAVFAX, Surfland. I work with all those entities. I'm a S1, so I work for S1 level, and which means that I work basically directly for the CNO, like a couple steps down. But our job is to make sure that the warfighters get what they need. And I run 2 sites in Romania and Poland, Aegis Ashore, and make sure that they stay on.
2 sites in Romania and Poland that are what?
Aegis Ashore.
Aegis to shore?
Aegis Ashore. Ashore.
So
basically, it's a ship.
Aegis that's not on the
shore, John, on land.
Well, no, because I'm making Aegis on land.
Yeah, it's
Aegis on land.
It's basically a damn ship on land.
Does it have an 04 level aft? Can we go smoke a cigarette?
Well,
yes.
No.
Will the Pentagon allow us to do an 04 level aft?
We can find one. We'll make one.
Oh, yeah, we have to do that.
We'll make one.
Let's go to the Pentagon and do an episode.
No,
from the Pentagon.
Romania, Poland, baby. Romania.
Oh, yeah. I don't have a passport, so I got to get down there.
Okay, so we'll do it in my backyard.
Sweet.
There we go. All right.
That's a nice yard. Did you see the pictures, Jay? I sent you some.
Jesus
Christ. We can indulge in some of that whippersnapper that you're drinking there.
I'm not. I'm good. I'll bring my Mountain Dews with me. Anyway, so you work at the Pentagon, which is crazy, and it's pretty cool to think about that. So I have some questions about the Pentagon.
Yeah,
it's just how many floors is it? For real, it looks like there's 3. I mean, from the outside ground level, is it like 3 stories or is it 4? I've always wondered that. It's a stupid question. It's a stupid question. If you look at the pictures, straight level, you walk in, is there 3 floors above it? Ground level and 2 floors, is the ground level and 3 floors? It's a stupid question. But you know me, and that's what I do. I ask stupid questions because that's what I want to know.
Jonathan,
you're the only person I've ever known that worked in the Pentagon.
I work on the 5th level.
Okay, there's 5. Sweet. And here's another stupid question.
Okay,
there's 5 sides to it. Is that
there's 5 sides, 4
I've always had in my mind
5 floors.
I've always had it in my mind that each branch has a side. Is that the way it is?
No.
Okay, just curious.
They have a corridor and a floor. Well, not a floor. They have a corridor on a floor, right? So let's say that the Pentagon is like there's a flat face here, angled face here, right? So where the helo hangar is over here, right, where the president, vice president, joint chief of staff, whoever wants to come and visit lands, right? And then they walk across, right? So this face.
How do they walk across again?
You get one showing
I gotta remember that. Get one showing. I gotta remember
right.
that. That's good.
So they all walk to a flat face, right? All of the services belong on all of the floors, right? So Air Force is on one floor with Space Force.
Hey, you talked about satellites more than anybody. So
what?
He's a satellite guy.
I'm not. I mentioned it one time.
I had satellite TV one time. Does that help?
So you know more. Yeah, you're more Space Force than me. But anyway, so each floor has their own. So 2, 3, and 4 are where all the service branch heads work at. So CNO, Department of the Air Force, so on and so forth.
Right. So you said you were kind of underneath the CNO. Have you ever met the CNO?
No.
Is that not, so it's not something that, like, if he's coming, y'all all like run away kind of thing? She? I have no idea. Yeah, I'm so far away from that.
It's a she.
Still 4-star though?
Yeah.
Is that always 4-star? Is that always a 4-star?
A 4-star.
Yeah. Wow. So let me ask this, because
I want to go visit. I want to run laps around the Pentagon.
That's
inside.
a big building, dude.
So here's a really cool thing.
Yeah. Like, hey guys, and just run by offices. What's up?
So the Pentagon was designed so that you can get anywhere you need to be in the Pentagon within 17 minutes or 21 minutes. Sorry, 21 minutes.
That's cool.
So there's ways in the middle that connect everything together.
Oh yeah, there's corridors, there's elevators, there's you can't get from. So the goal was to get from the 5th floor all the way down to the secret bunker kind of place.
Oh yeah, who knows how many
secret squirrel places in 21 minutes.
So I watched a video one time. It was like one of those Discovery Channel deals where we were talking about like whatnot, and they were talking about this guy was a cook in like one of the mess areas in the Pentagon. And he was talking about how many different like clearance things he has to go through just to get to the place where he can cook the food for people. But they were all talking about how good the food was in the Pentagon. And I would imagine just by the look, you can know that. But anyway, and of course, that was a long time ago.
It has to be better than the Lake Champlain food.
Man, I don't remember Lake Champlain food being that bad.
Really? Are you high?
Yakisobe is still my
He's
favorite.
from Louisiana, Brian.
I'm not from Louisiana. I live in Louisiana.
Look,
well, he's from Georgia. Same thing.
God, are you kidding me? Mid-rats?
I don't remember. Man, I don't remember. Mid-rats don't count because that's leftovers.
Oh, are you kidding me? That's all I grew up on. Why? Because I wasn't like you. I actually worked for a living. So.
Whoa.
Shots fired. Salvos fired. Okay.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
When they pulled the half-inch thick crust off of the curry chicken.
I want to say this. Hey, listen, I want to listen. Everybody listening to this, that knows anything about the Navy, I just had an OS tell me that I didn't do anything in the Navy. An OS, not it wasn't an EN. ENs, man, they were hardworking dudes. They all both mates. Oh man, they was everywhere working hard.
Dude, I spent 22 years in the Navy. I know what FCs do.
Well, it depends on what division you were in. Depends on how good your equipment was.
No.
Depends on if you had Master Chief Lawrence. You didn't have Master Chief Lawrence running around finding every little thing that was wrong with your radar and having you.
I remember Master Chief Lawrence, dude. He was like the developer's spy.
So we always called him Yoda because there was nothing,
dude,
at all. Any kind of problem anybody was having with Aegis, all you had to do was start describing it, and he would tell you how to fix it.
John. You know that he was on the panel for developing.
No doubt. I don't know that, but I don't doubt it.
Like he was.
I mean, I didn't know that, but like I said, I don't doubt it at all.
He was. He was one of the main figures developing Aegis and Spy. As an FC, he sat on a board to develop it. And
again, I don't doubt that. Scotty Too Hottie was really, really brilliant person. So
he was insane. Like
and then Chief Lack, though. Chief Lack was the same way. You remember Chief Lack?
Yeah, I remember him. But he didn't sit on my East-West board. I would have rather him.
Years ago. What did he pass away from?
I don't know. Adam Hardy told me that Chief Lack passed away a couple years ago, but I don't know why. But he was the dude was them guys were just like a wealth of knowledge, and I'm afraid. I don't know. So my son had a massive curvature in his back, and it was so bad that if he scoliosis, if he bent down through his shirt and through his jacket, you could see it. And they went through and they put rods in it, straightened his back out a whole lot, not completely 100%, but they straightened out a lot. And one of the things I looked at those X-rays with that rod in his back, and I said, I said, son, you probably are not going to ever be allowed to be in the military. And he was devastated. And I was like, I'm not devastated at all. Like I'm not tore up about it at all, because if what you say, which I have no reason to doubt, if what you say is true, I'm really glad that my kid's not going into the military. But if one of them comes to me and says, I want to join the military, I'm like, hey, I'm right behind you. I mean, I'll go to boot camp, watch you graduate. But
dude, every part of the military when we were in together from 99 to 03, I loved. I loved everything. Even the stupid change from dungarees, utilities, all that stupid stuff. Yeah. But I loved it, man.
But
I loved it. I loved all the guys I was on board with. I loved my biggest thing that I loved is unrep. I loved being outside with the guys, just handing each other boxes.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that we were that all three of us were standing next to each other the majority of the
really
time.
Good chance. I remember a vert rep where we there was a crate of strawberries that did not make it to the quarterdeck. Everyone was so mad.
Handing and eating at the same time. Handing and eating.
Dude, it was peanut butter, it was jelly, it was bread.
My pockets were full. My pockets were full of jelly and peanut butter. Those little thingies. Yeah.
You know,
and then you see cigarettes come through too. And you're like, uh-oh.
But so what I'll tell you is the Navy now is not what we remember. And it's heartbreaking. It really is. And I guarantee you, and I say this because every generation, I'm pretty sure, has ever said that, right?
Yeah.
Every generation, like, oh, they're soft. And, dude, I get shit every day when I log on to some sort of chief, like, Facebook page or messenger page or whatever. It's like, I'm like, oh my God. Like you're crying because someone can't put their hair in a bun. Like, what? Like,
they don't do that though. That's all ponytails now.
It's ponytails, right?
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing.
So what I'll say is that it's ponytails only if you don't work around equipment that will require you to get your hair caught in something, right?
Dude, this mosquito's driving me crazy.
But
I just thought you were clapping for us.
This mosquito's been driving me up the wall.
Go Brian, go Jay.
I love the Navy. I don't like the way that we're going. And 100% has to do with our leadership. And I had a conversation. So I work in the Pentagon, right? We've already established that. And I'm a retired chief, and I work around a bunch of, so my counterpart, my equal, is a lieutenant commander who is screened for commander at sea, who's going to take over a destroyer. And
he's active now. Yeah.
He's going to be a CO of a destroyer, right? So I work with a bunch of retired guys that are retired 06s, Commodores, and I'm a chief, and we have conversations every day, and they're like, hey chief, hey, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And I'm like, well, honestly, we have had no good Navy leadership since World War II. Name me one admiral after World War II.
Jim Morrison's dad was an admiral.
Who?
Jim Morrison from the Doors. His dad was the. Hey, listen, his dad.
God, I love you, bro.
His dad was the admiral of whatever fleet that is. That was it, sixth or what fleet is the other side of the Pacific? Seventh Fleet, whatever. He was the admiral that was the beginning of the Vietnam War, and while he was in the middle of that fight with the war stuff, his son died.
Yeah, I went there.
But he was.
I went to his grave.
Listen, Admiral, that's one. Jim
That's
Morrison's
not
dad.
what I mean.
Steve Morrison,
Like,
I believe his name.
Okay, so remember boot camp. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take yourself back to boot camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take yourself back to after you graduate or pass.
Pass and review.
No,
You know
what I'm talking
battle
about?
stations.
Battle stations, yes.
Yeah.
When they would play the TVs and the music, and okay, so we all know who Farragut is. We all know who Dave, you know, all of them, right? We all know, like, full speed ahead, damn the torpedoes, and I have not yet begun to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know that, right? And we know what Admiral Halsey did, and we know what Chester Nimitz did, and we know what all of those guys did, right? Mm-hmm. Name me one admiral from World War II to now that did anything that you can remember that solidified anything that the Navy should remember.
I was going to say
Jim Morris's father having Jim Morrison. Bam.
I mean, what was funny is I was actually reading about the Navy stuff in the Vietnam War, and I was reading about this admiral, and then it was a little side note said, by the way, this is actually the father of Jim Morrison, who's like, I was reading about him before I realized it was connected to that. So, I mean, you have to dig it and read it. You're right. I mean, you're not going to Admiral Nimitz, was one of the greatest admirals of, World War II guy. And like right? World War II?
Yes.
No, you're right. World War II, but
I'm just saying, he's not that he's the greatest, he's known. Everybody knows his name, and so the point being, he was from Fredericksburg, Texas, and they got this huge thing in that town, which is really cool. Museum, which is like the World War II museum, is fantastic. Anyway, you're right. I mean, there's not a lot of that, but I think that
there's zero.
When you get, there's a difference though between the way society looked at the military in World War II and then the way it looked at it in these different, and all of a sudden politics played. It probably played a lot of it back then too, but it was just a way, it was different. It's like you're not going to have the same, like, I mean, realistically, Norman Schwarzkopf is the only general I can think of.
Really? Colin Powell?
Okay, Colin Powell. Okay, there's two right there. Yeah. I mean, off the top of my head, that's the only two I can think of.
But so what I'm saying is, like, the Army,
I don't mean they were good. I can just tell you their name.
If you look at any war movie after September 11th, what is it? It's Army or Marine, right?
Right.
It's Army or Marine.
Except for Battleship.
Other than Battleship. Like, really?
The Battleship, that movie was realistic. It was. There's monsters that come out of the water.
Of all the things that upset me about that show,
who drives a boat, who also is a.
That's just like Jags. Jags the same way. Officers fly airplanes.
It's very realistic.
No, not at all. But I mean, the thing is yeah.
This is the most banner that we've had.
No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. But I totally 100%, 110% agree with you, Brian. There's nothing.
No, there's
absolutely nothing. So it seems like right after World War II, we started listening to feelings. 100%. I feel like this is wrong. So, okay, let's change it because this person doesn't feel that great. And everything before World War II was hard-nosed sailors, hard-nosed soldiers. They didn't give a damn what you thought. They went and they got it done. Now it's like, okay, I'm having a hard time, like you just said, putting my hair in a ponytail.
And it's not even that. It's like the sailors, you know, and I can't speak for every branch of the service, right? And I can't speak for every sailor in the Navy, but what I can speak to is what I saw, right? Is there's a massive change in expectations and leniency. For example, I had a sailor who got kicked out of the Navy for stealing and a whole slew of other things, right? But it took me like 3, almost 4 years to get him kicked out. So
it's an enlistment.
No accountability.
But here's the funny thing.
Are they that hurting for people that they don't want to get rid of the people who are trained already?
But here's the funny thing. So I was on board the Baton, and RCO is Captain Howard. He later made Admiral Howard. Right. The guy that was stealing and doing all, dude, he was unplugging people's headphones from their iPods while they were sleeping and stealing their iPods. Like we opened up, we did MA and medical health and comfort, and we lifted up his rack, and there was like credit cards, there was like iPods, there's phones, there was like a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Someone would have gotten their butt beat,
right?
Back in our day.
Back in the old days, yes, 100%, no doubt. You know,
and no one would say anything.
No, he would have been.
What happened in the berthing stayed in the berthing.
100%. He would have been keel hauled. He would have been drugged behind a freaking boat for the next 3.5 months. Like you're not coming back on board. You're covered from head to toe in barnacles. So
you don't steal from your shipmates, dude.
No,
Absolutely.
you don't. So I sent him the mast, and you know what the CO said? Verbatim. I can't kick him out. I can't do anything to him. I'm going to put him on 13 days restriction because he comes from a troubled background.
Oh, God.
So, hold on. So, it gets better. So, we fast forward. Dude comes off restriction. We come off deployment. You know, I'm on duty. So, I get a phone call. And they're like, hey, Chief, so-and-so's on the phone for you down at quarterdeck. I'm like, who? So I walk down there, like, hey, how you doing? Like, hi, so I'm so-and-so's mom. I'm looking for so-and-so. I'm like,
same so-and-so.
Huh?
Same guy I've been stealing. Same guy you're talking about?
Correct. And I'm like, so-and-so's been on leave for like 3 days. She's like, what do you mean? Like he went back to LA where he's from, in Compton. She's like, what? He ain't from Compton? He's from La Jolla. Like, she's like, I'm a CEO of a company. His grandfather's a retired senior chief. I was like, wait.
Troubled background.
Like, oh.
That sounds like a very troubled background.
I'm like, let's talk about your son. Here's what he's been doing. That dude finally got kicked out after I left the boat. And as he's walking down the pier, with someone else's shirt.
Wow. So there's some klepto stuff on that guy. That's an unfortunate thing. People.
Well, dude, it was great seeing you. We got to start wrapping this up. Hour and 25 minutes. Holy crapola.
Well, it's not recorded the whole time.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
Yeah, and so we got to get you some equipment, and that way you can hop on here a little more often.
Dude, I have equipment.
But it ain't working.
I don't know. Look, hey, hold on.
Oh, yeah, where's that?
Look at that little soundboard he's got.
Okay, we got to work on that.
I got a soundboard.
That ain't what you're plugged into, though, right now.
No, I do. I am. For whatever reason, it's not picking it up. So
I got really mad. I am.
Is it turned on?
Come down, Chief.
It is on. Where is reading it?
Hey, I just saw a hearing aid.
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
Right.
Yeah,
I need to get those tinnitus ones.
Yeah, I'm completely messed up, bro. like mentally, physically, like completely jacked up.
Well, you were always messed up mentally. Just to physically just
I will find
caught up
where
to
you
you.
live.
I'll give you my address, man. Take me out of my misery.
Come on, I dare you.
No, it's it's been a rough road, man. And
yeah.
you know,
Well, that's why we got to do this and stick together, man. You know, it's not easy. I don't care what anybody says. It's not easy to be in the military and to be a part of something, and all of a sudden not be in the military anymore and not be a part of that. You know, it's not easy. It is not easy.
As hard as it was getting out after 6 years and going in the civilian world,
I couldn't imagine getting out after 22.
Yeah,
like Brian.
And because you were a military brat too, so
I was.
You've been in the military your entire life.
I mean, the thing is like all that shit doesn't matter, dude. Like I have to get an epidural in my neck this week to deal with my nerve pain that goes through my spine, through my shoulder. Cause I can't feel this. I can't feel the first 3 fingers of my hand all the way down my shoulder because I had reconstructive surgery on my shoulder. I have herniated disc L1 through L5. Like, you know, dude, it's.
I think I'm glad I got out when I did.
I got blown up.
It ain't easy.
I got blown up when I was in Iraq, and it. You know, one of these days, you know, us three we'll talk about it. But
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
IEDs ain't no joke, man.
Well, Brian,
love you guys.
Hey, we'll get you back. We'll get you back 100%.
Oh,
we'll get back on the smoke deck and talk.
God, man, I love you guys. You guys haven't changed a bit. Jay, I still owe you a peacoat.
Yes, sir, you do. I wasn't going to mention anything, but you know, since you said it,
hey, I got you.
It's too hot for peacoats.
Get a hold of that drawing. I'd like to see it.
Done deal.
Send it to me. I'd like to see it, buddy.
Absolutely.
All right, dude. It was great seeing you, man. I love you, and you're not alone. So
I know.
Always reach out.
Love you guys.
Love you too, man.
Love you too, bro.
Have a good one. See you.
Oh.
The smoking lamp is out.